Tower Climbing Grease Monkeys, and this is episode 7 of our podcast that we're recording live. Currently, we're broadcasting on Instagram as well as live on Facebook. I'm going to take a moment to share this stuff around, and I ask that you guys do the same thing. Today, we're actually going to be talking about safety. Recently, I was asked to give a talk at a few different conferences. The first of which was an ESIG event that's coming up in Colorado, and the next would be a big power conference in Florida put on by I don't even remember the name of the people, but it's this big thing. I'd be talking to all these executives, and frankly, I was asked to talk about safety, and I thought to myself, what would I talk about? I have no idea what I would even talk about as far as safety goes. I think safety is just one of those things that you do and you don't really talk about. I've never been a huge fan of, like these overbearing safety policies. I figure like people are either safe or they're not. Manage guys in the field or work with guys in the field that, you kind of take those things seriously because you want to go home at night and you want to be with your children, or you just want to be, at home in your bed by yourself. I don't know what you do in the middle of the night or what, but the reality is if you have any self-preservation at all, then you should probably want to be safe. And it's hard to try to ingrain that into a person if they just don't have it. And I think those who don't have it, they tend to simply not respect themselves as much as they should. My take on the whole thing is pretty simple. Like, a company can tell you to be safe all you want, but when you walk out the door, it's really your responsibility. I've met a lot of great safety people, people who have actually worked in the field, which I think is absolutely pivotal. And necessary. If you don't work in the field and you're preaching safety and you're telling your guys to be safe, and you've never done the job that you're asking them to do safely, then you're just simply a bad safety person. So if that's you, then maybe you should get some time and spend it in the field before you ask somebody to do something that you've never done. I think that's a big one. My experience is sometimes too that the safety person is the person that, was the unsafest person and then had some bad accident happen to them. And then they become a safety person because they now realize the importance of safety. I think that you probably have all seen that, safety guys missing fingers and having, crazy injuries and all of that. My experience with that is pretty regular. I don't know if you guys have seen that too, but we're going to talk about safety here today. We're going to open it up for calls, and this can be anonymous. Okay, so I want you guys to know that this can be anonymous. You can call this number. We can just chat about safety. We can chat about anything you want to. This is an open call. I don't have any guests lined out today. Kind of off the cuff show, and we're just going to address some of the topics within safety, and hopefully we come up with a decent topic and a decent agenda for me to talk about in front of some of these really influential people, not only at the ESIG Summit, but at this PowerGen Summit in Florida. So I'm going to be in front of some really influential people who create some of these agendas that you guys are going to be carrying out. And I think if I can have a good call to action for them, maybe I'll help improve things. The last thing I want to do is just go up there and talk for 15 to 30 minutes and have zero impact. They're obviously asking me to talk about safety for a reason. They see that I have some level of impact in this society or within this industry. So if there's a topic that you think that I should bring up, give this number a call. This is just simple direct line, completely anonymous, whatever it may be. I always wanted to do this for whatever reason. Guys seem to be pretty scared to call in, but you don't have to tell me your name. If you want to, you can. You can tell a story, a safety story about something that happened. You can tell me whatever you want. I think it'll just be a fun little thing. So the line's open. The number's right there. The phone number is 435-383-1018. Your comments are definitely, showing here as well. So I encourage you guys to share this around. For anybody who calls in, we're going to give away some stickers. So if you want some TCGM stickers, we've got everything from these grease monkeys here. If you want some of these stickers, give us a call. I'll definitely hand some of these out, and you can give them away to some of your guys on site. We got plenty of those stickers. We got some smaller hard hat stickers. So if you guys are looking for some stickers and you want to share some cool safety information, I don't care about information, but like if you want to share some stories or whatever and you just want to chop it up, then just let me know. The phone number is right there. But I wrote a few things down here when I was thinking last night what maybe I might talk about. And there's really 5 points that I came up with. And the first one was lead by example, executives doing work and having realistic expectations. The first thing that I'd like to talk about here is so many of our guys in the field feel a disconnect between people who manage us and the people who actually do the work. I've had plenty of leaders who actually came up through the ranks, started in the field, worked there for quite some time, and then moved on into bigger and better things. But let's be honest, what's bigger and better to you is maybe not what somebody else wants. I know a lot of guys personally that would just rather not ever sit at a desk, come up with all of these, agendas or whatever, right? Like they just rather be the guys in the field. So I think that if you lead by example, you actually have to do the work. For those who are in upper level management and don't have any experience in the field, you need to just own that and recognize that, and then be upfront and honest about that. There are guys that are going to call you out on it and say, look, man, why should I listen to you? There's absolutely, no realistic expectation from you. You don't know actually what we're doing. How are you going to ask us to do this thing that you've never done yourself? So I would say the first thing is if you're in charge of a group of men and say you're a regional guy, or, you're a higher up guy, there's plenty of positions out there that have plenty of men beneath you, right? Do not ever ask somebody to do something that you've never tried to do yourself. Now that might seem like a ridiculous request. And how do I have time for that? How would I make time for, going out into the field and actually working beside these guys? That's up to you to decide. You have to make time. If you are simply the man that is telling somebody to do something has never done it before, you're not a leader. You're simply a manager, and there will be a very big disconnect. Now, some people might think that that's unrealistic. There's no way executives can go out into the field and they can't, actually do work with these guys. Well, that's bullshit. You can make time. Even if it's 1 week out of a year, you can make time. You can go do a maintenance with these guys. You guys can go on a troubleshooting fault and actually get dirty with them. If you don't know what it is that these guys are doing, how are you going to ask them to do it? And how are you going to have realistic expectations? I think so many times it's easy for management to say, yeah, go do that. It's just a list, and you see one line item on a list. Well, say like, for example, like a pitch maintenance or something, you have to, you know, take out all of the oil from the drives and rotate it and do all this. And oh, that's only one thing on a list. Do you know what time and effort that takes? Do you know how tedious that is? Do you know how dirty that is? Do you know what you have to do to make that happen? And then to ask them to do something else after that, or, and then to do it safely, there's a disconnect. So for you leaders out there, this is, you're not a leader, and unless you've done what these guys have been doing and tried to do it, you're not a leader. You're simply a manager, and you'll have some issues there. I highly encourage you guys to make a change there. That's one of my first things. So lead by example. A safety culture that talks about safety is one thing, and the only way that it actually comes down to the guys in the field and having them do the right things all the time when no one's looking is by just ingraining in them that it's okay to work a little bit slower so that they can be safe. So many times it's just put out there that you have to get the job done at a certain amount of time. Having unrealistic expectations. If we want our guys to be safe, we have to have realistic expectations as far as time goes. We have to listen to our men and women in the field who've done the job, and we have to tell them and have a discussion with them what we expect as managers, and then what they expect as technicians, and have an open dialogue constantly. Here's a comment from Stan. It's tough. We used to understand that everything on the field adds at least 10 times the amount of money and time to do something. You know what, Stan? That's a great comment. And there is a factor there. I think that you bring into the conversation something that's next on my list, and it's actually the next thing on my list. And so you bring up having the right tools for the job, being prepared. That's what my second thing is having the proper tools. I don't know how many of you guys out there, have reached out, complained about it openly, but not, called anybody out on it. And said, basically, how are we supposed to do this job safely if we don't have the right stuff? We're asking for the right stuff, and we're not getting it. The sad truth is, this is all a business. And sometimes you might not get the proper tool for the job, and you might have to go up there and MacGyver it and try to do it. And most of you guys are willing to do that. And it's sad because I've done that too. You get up there and you're like, well, I don't have the proper tool, or the proper tool I do have is not working right. And so I have to make it work. There's new innovation out there all the time. Whether it's with, torquing, which is one of the most dangerous jobs that we do, or tensioning, those things are just real big pain points for us. We can create a lot of harm to ourselves if we use these pieces of equipment improperly. There's new devices out there that can help us be safer. I mean, I have one right behind me right here. If you look at up here, I've got a rad torque gun. It's a battery gun. Can be great for use for installation, and very ergonomic, easy to use. This is by no means a plug for them, but what I'm saying is that's an example of a good investment for a site to make for their guys. I don't know how many sites I've been to. They're still lugging around these huge hydraulic equipment, and the potential for risk there is just massive. And There's no reason to do that. That it also, comes into this discussion of how we even get up there. I can't believe there's still sites that are not installing Climb Assist or not having some kind of level of assist to get up the tower, right? If you want your guys to last, I mean, this is coming from a guy who did this for 10 years, all right? If you want them to last, like, you got to help them out. You got to give them something to help them get up there. Because after like 5-6 years, your knees start to hurt, man. Things are starting to break down. And even if you're a young guy, I can't imagine that it's really that important to cut the budget. I mean, put it into the cost of the farm. And for those older farms, make it happen, And I know there's a disconnect there between like the asset manager, the guy who holds the money, and then the guy who, wants it for his guys. I know that there's a disconnect there for sure. Look, there's some interesting comments here. I'll read this one out loud. This one's from Justin. I wish companies would become more worried about safety and getting more training for tower rescue scenarios and ladder rescues and how to get people down as fast as possible and safe as possible. I feel like this needs to become more of a concern with new people walking in on a daily basis. Yeah, that's a good comment, Justin. It's a hard one. How do you consistently train somebody to be ready and aware to use this safety system? And that's the other thing. We have so many of them. Every company has something different. I like options. Don't get me wrong. I like the Ape Escape. I like the TSL. The Tractail is not so bad either. Skylotech's got some cool thing out there. For me, do I think any one of them is better than the rest? I don't know, man. Each one of them has their benefits, right? And their drawbacks. It's such a hard deal to like pick one, and companies just have to pick one and stick with it and constantly just innovate and help these companies that are making them make them better. There's so many schools out there too, Justin. That's the one thing. There's so many schools out there that are teaching these guys different systems, right? And then they get into the field and that's not the one that they're using, and then they have to be cross-trained again. That's a standardization problem. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I know AWEA's working on something with that. Trying to standardize training. I know GWO's got some training. I did the GWO course with out in Kalamazoo Valley Community College with INSA and Tom Sutton out there, and man, it was great. I thought it was a great thing. But not everybody has the same training, Vestas guys use the Ape Escape sometimes, and then GE guys use the TSL, and I guess everybody, if everybody in the room knows the same system, they're good, and it's not foreign to them, right? It's not too complex. Like some of the systems I've used are pretty complex, and guys just like forget how to even use them. That's one thing that's bad, but reviewing that monthly, I think that's definitely a big deal. Stan says, very true, but safety used to be knowing how to tie knots and yearly hopping out of the turbine. Now folks don't know how to emergency egress or actually hop out. Yeah, that's becoming more and more common. Like they don't actually let us emergency egress out of the tower. Out of the 10 years that I've been doing this, I only got to jump out of the tower once. It was the greatest day of my life. I loved it. I actually was up another tower, busting my butt, and they were saying they were sending people over. And I remember, man, I'm going to miss this opportunity. I got new guys that have been in maybe 6 months getting able to do this. And they're like, yeah, we're going to wrap this up. I heard that on the radio. And I was like, bullshit. I'm climbing down. I'm climbing up there. I've been here for freaking 6 years, man. You're going to let me climb out of this thing and jump out. Sure enough, man. I got up there and was able to do it, and it was rocking it. And it was fun. It was the coolest thing. We got to descend out of a clipper, and what a neat opportunity that was to just like descend out of that thing, out of the garage door. Man, you know, I don't know, dude. It's so let me ask this question, and I'm going to post this up, man. I hope one of you guys call in. So I'd love to get a call. Just call into this number, any call, just to have a little discussion with me. We're going to read some more of these comments here. Stan says, I always used to say, if a person can't tie a knot, don't hire them. Well, that's an interesting one. Nowadays, they don't even have to tie a knot. Wyatt says, technicians struggle to recall key emergency rescue steps within a month of initial training in tests by Glasgow, Caldion University. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if that's a quote. That's an interesting one. Well, I do know that's true though. People do struggle to. Oh man, I've got an issue here with Instagram. They can't hear me. All right, they say, "Can you hear me?" Oh, no one can hear me. So maybe that'll help out. Maybe that'll help you out. Sorry about that. Who knows? Probably not going to help out, but maybe they just see it. So, yeah. Anyway, if you guys want to call in, this is the number right here. All right, back to my key points here. We got to keep on track here. So far we talked about leading by example, actually being a guy that's done the work that you're asking these guys to do. And if it's not exactly the work, but at least you spent some time in there. You can't ask somebody to do something that you've never done. And if you do, that's kind of hypocritical and unrealistic. So the second one was having the proper tools and having the proper safety equipment. All right. And before we get off of the equipment thing, I want to tell you guys this, and this is a call out to the technicians. Okay. And you guys can call in and bitch me out all you want. I don't care. All right. But this is the deal. It's your responsibility to bring the safety equipment up. If you leave the safety equipment somewhere where you can't access it, it's not anyone else's fault. Okay. If you go into the hub without a way to get out, that's your fault. Right? If you have a fire in there, if you have a fire in the nacelle and you're in the hub and you don't have your equipment, that's your fault. You didn't bring it in because you were lazy. You didn't want to pack the bag in. Oh, here we go. We got a call coming in. Hello, welcome to the TCGM show. Hey, man. You don't have to say who this is if you don't want to, but welcome to the show.
Oh, it's Nancy.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. I'm just listening to your show here, bud.
Well, cool, dude. Well, what do you have to say?
I don't know. So, I mean, there's, I feel like there's all around. There's, the tool, safety, but the other thing is, we start to get reliant on other folks for our stuff instead of doing it ourselves. So, climate is important, and you're right, it helps our knees, but the flip side of that is you can't sit in your car waiting for the climate system to get fixed or something like this if the job needs to get done, and I feel like some of us do that. Heck, I've done that. And, if we need the right tools beforehand, we can actually plan that up. And let's say you go up and do a job and you discover you ain't got the tool.
Yeah.
I mean, tell somebody.
That's exactly what Justin just commented on here. He says, one of the biggest fears in wind is people who are afraid to speak up and say they are not confident in performing a job. Especially worries me when people say they struggle to understand a lotto form are how to properly read the schematic books. So I think maybe sometimes our pride comes right before the fall, right?
I don't know how many times this accident happened. It's because somebody said, "Hey, I had a guy say I'm a master electrician," and then he put fuses in on a live circuit. I mean, in the
Yeah.
box. You're like, you're a master electrician. You just rolled in one phase on one phase.
Yeah.
Why? And man, there's a lot of folks that don't read schematics, and that's a tough thing. So they're relying on the procedure to do everything for them. And heck, I've rolled into a site, just looked at the schematic for a brand new turbine the first time, and asked, "Have you tried this?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, unfortunately, this year, we lost a guy in Texas. I think it's Snyder, Texas. I've actually been in the industry for a long time. And, dude, made a fatal mistake. And, unfortunately, he died for it.
And mistakes aren't easily forgiven in our industry. I mean, I've had arc flashes that could have been prevented. That sometimes I kick myself that maybe if I'd have done better inspecting things, could have been prevented.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky. I mean, the beard's still there. That's usually what folks call about. But your PPE is your last line of defense. The best line of defense right between your ears.
And that's the last thing on my list is PPE. I mean, that's like literally the last thing I think about. The whole PPE thing, it's exactly what you said. It's the last line of defense. That's not anything. It's all a mindset and where you're at. And one of the things that I don't think I even wrote down was how are guys even preparing themselves for their day mentally? Are they ready? I mean, I don't know how many of those guys you've had out there that are just like, hung over from the night before, and are not prepared. And you're just like, dude, you're grounded. That's what you want to tell them. Like, get out of here.
Well, you think about your life, you start out that first time you drove a car and you were so excited, you were so nervous, and you slowly but surely you got to where you were following every rule. If it said 55, you were doing 55. How do you drive now? Do you do donuts?
No. I crashed too many cars for that, man. It became too expensive.
But you see what I mean? You do the speed limit? Do you have your mind on the road all the time? No, we did the same thing when we started working, right? We went in, that first turbine I climbed in, mid-90s. That first turbine I climbed, man, I was excited. It was amazing. And yeah, maybe it was only, feet high. Now I look at it and go, wow, that only took a 2-minute climb there. That's like a 50-foot tower.
Yeah.
But, you're on that lattice, you're climbing up there, you're just amazed at everything around you.
Yeah.
I climbed the guy up a clipper tower. We rode the elevator. But we get out there and he's like, "This is majestic." I thought, this is the 1,000th, millionth turbine I climbed.
Right.
Not majestic. It's a greasy animal that I'm gonna go.
This particular one is my annoying stepbrother that I don't want to climb again.
It's the same thing with the safety, right? We become complacent. One of the most dangerous things in the world is that car, that vehicle. We don't have our mind on the road. We're listening to music. We're eating food. We're talking on the phones.
We're already ready for the self-driving car, but it's not here yet, and we're just kind of like still doing it as if it is here.
Well, that one gentleman that was driving a Tesla that went underneath the semi, he lost his head about it. I don't know that that's the right answer. I don't know that it isn't. So that's the deal. A lot of us are relying on everything around us, our PPE and everything, to keep us safe instead of that thing between our ears.
Yeah.
We become compliant, I think. How many times do you you tension a bolt, and you're always doing it the same. And then that one time, you get your finger stuck between the tensioner and lose it. Yeah, I think most times injuries are preventable. I don't think all the time. There are times where it's not. But I think if we talk about it honestly, like this, and maybe folks can look at it and say, yeah, I do want to be safe, and we are going to get big places. So every now and again, a little shot of cold water and somebody getting hurt. It can be a learning experience if we let it. And it's a horrible learning experience, but we can. And I'm going to teach 70B tomorrow, and you bring some of that stuff with you, and you say, this happened to me. This electricity stuff, it's not a joke.
Yeah.
This mechanical stuff, it's not a joke. Think about how we had a gentleman die in a tower. He was using, I think it was Danish, the main shaft as a winch. That was a pretty common thing back then.
Yeah.
Got a hold of his hand and in his arm, and it removed his arm from his body, and he bled to death at the tower.
Holy shit, man. That's a gnarly story.
And so that can happen to me. That main shaft is always there. How hard is it to? We didn't used to have any of the safety guards that we have now. But again, all of that stuff to me is secondary. You don't see the police officers shooting themselves in their flak jackets. That's the last line of defense. You don't want to get shot. Same thing here. There's safety guards, but you should be cognizant that there's a reason that there's a safety guard there. Don't take it off. Think about it. That can hurt me. Don't stick your finger in it. Get your, whatever caught in it. Take your harness off. Think about where you're at. Don't, I've seen guys working on the top box with their harness, and I've walked up to them and said, that's metal around you.
Yeah.
You got to arc out. Or we go into the hub, and that's a tough one. How long does it take to put that harness back on? Get out of the hub. We've had some.
Yeah, I used to tell my guys that all the time, man. Don't just, you can take your lanyards and shit, but keep the harness on. And honestly, most of them didn't hear me.
Yeah. So.
Because I can't take your 200-pound ass out of there without a harness and something to grab onto. I mean, I could try, but
I could do it. But yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment you might be able to, but whew, you bring up some good points, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Do me a favor and send me an email at jobs@tcgm.us, man. I'll send you some stickers. I appreciate you calling in.
You've sent me stickers before, but I'm good. I got on bike.
Well, thanks, man. Cool, dude.
Talk to you later. Have fun.
Yeah, you too. See ya. That's cool, man. I love talking to people. He brought up some good comments, man. Absolutely. If you guys want to call in too, man, this show's open. That's the call-in number right there. Just simple as that. You can call in anonymously if you want, or you can call in and tell us who you are. It's up to you. Yeah, some other comments here from Justin. On the issue of maintenance, how do you feel about getting away from high torque pumps and ERADs and start using the battery power high torque gun to help with the longevity of the crew at the end of the day? You did some name dropping there as far as like the high torque gun. Frankly, I think that thing is overpriced and breaks down, particularly because I've had experience with it. But that's why I back the new rad guns. But yeah, man, I mean, you're on the right track. Absolutely. There's no reason, if technology keeps advancing, there's no reason why we should just keep using the same crap and like having guys, potentially injure themselves. But in all things, that there's some issues there. But yeah, for sure, man, these new guys out here, dude, they got it easy with all these freaking lightweight guns and all that stuff. We always packed around 45-pound pumps and big ass heads that could, like, if a hose came off, it would inject your body. Like, dude, all the time. Here's another comment. Maybe we could list these points and make a recommended list in addition to industry standard. That's a good idea, Wyatt. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm having this discussion right now, because I've been asked to talk safety in front of a group of people that really are quite disconnected, in my opinion. Well, they could be. I might be prejudging these guys, but I'm thinking they're probably pretty disconnected as far as safety goes. Let's say the next thing on my list was cut the budget somewhere else, not the ops budget. I'm so tired. I was so tired of this all the time. These dudes, cutting the budget. We're cutting the budget for the guys that are actually making them run. That's how you make your money. Cut the budget somewhere else. Cut some admin, dude. Like limit somebody else. How many people behind the scenes are working right now? I mean, I'm not trying to single out people that aren't actually out there doing the work, but dude, cut the budget somewhere else, man. Don't cut the budget on the guys that are actually keeping these turbines running. That seems like, not logical. Don't do that. I don't even know if I have to go in. I think I made the point clear there. I don't know if I have to go into it any further than that. I don't know how many times there's always the sites, man. They make the wrong decisions. They don't buy the things that they should. They cut the budget where they shouldn't. And I don't know, man. That's a big thing. And honestly, I'm not in that game anymore. But it doesn't mean that I can't speak to it. Number 4 here was invest in your guys. Some of you guys have brought that up. How do we make better technicians? How do we give people the skills in order to know what's safe and what isn't? If they don't completely understand the circuits that they're working on, if they don't completely understand the hydraulic units they're working on, they don't completely understand how to rig the things that they're rigging, they're more likely to get hurt. Simple as that. So how do we do that? We train them. We train the guys and we spend the money on the training. Oh, we don't have money for that. You know what I think of? It's like, you really don't care if you don't have money for that. That's what I think. I think if we invest in our people, we have, a more likely chance that they're actually not going to, fatally injure themselves. We go back to a scenario earlier this year where a guy is like, yeah, I know how to do this on this type of turbine. I'll go try it out on this new different type of turbine, gets in there, and then boom, dead. That's preventable. If you're a manager and you send a guy to do something that he's never done before and he doesn't understand the system fully, that hangs on your shoulders. You should never be asking people to do something that they don't feel comfortable with. And for you guys out there, you all have stop work authority. You can say no. I don't know how to do that. Send me with somebody who does know how to do that. I can do these things, but I don't know how to do that. It's okay. You can swallow your pride. I know you want to be the baddest tech out there and show everybody that you're able to fix everything. But if you don't think you can do it safely, don't do it at all. If you're not healthy in the fact that you fear what you're about to do, then I don't know, man. You have to have a healthy fear of what is there. I mean, you can understand it, but you gotta be able to respect it too. All right, we got another comment here. It says training is key. If you're not learning, you become a teacher. And if you're not wanting to give a helping hand, you're only in it for the check and not bettering the company. Yeah. I think I don't know how many of you guys agree with this, but so many people, they want to be in there to better themselves and then better the company. And then they feel like they get crapped on because they don't get what they deserve. And I hate to even bring that up, but dude, if you're not paying your guys the right amount, they're not going to take the job as seriously. And that's unfortunate. And I don't think it's right. And they're all at will employees and they can go work somewhere else. But if you're not giving them what they deserve, they're not going to take it as serious as you think. It really bothers me when I think about some of the wages that some of these guys get to do this job. Skilled people, man, skilled laborers, been doing it for years, and then they're still getting shortchanged just because they can. That bothers me. I don't think that guys take their job as serious when they feel like they're not getting taken care of. That's a whole nother subject for sure. And I don't claim to know all the answers for that one. Obviously we want this to be profitable. But that's the thing, man. It irks you, right? Like you're like, Wind is doing well. It's becoming a lower cost and shit. It's like the lower cost rests on your back as a technician. It does, man. You're always the last person in the funnel. You're the last person at the funnel, and you're getting all of it. You're getting all the responsibility. You're getting all the additional work. It's a lot easier for them to make, bad decisions, or makes the decisions where it results in more work on your end. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? There's a phone number. You can call in. Phone number is right there. 435-383-1018. We're talking safety. We're talking about the things that affect safety. We're talking about the things that I should talk about to a group of people that might actually listen. I don't know why they want me to talk about safety. I'm not always the safest guy. I reach into electrical cabinets that are live still because shit, there was no other way to troubleshoot them. How do you troubleshoot something that's not live sometimes? You can't do that. Sometimes there's unrealistic expectations. All right. I could probably spend 2 more days on a project if I had that, but I got somebody breathing down my back saying you gotta fix this thing. We're losing money. All right. I'm going to do this as safe as I know possible, but this thing's going to be energized and I'm going to get it rocking and rolling. You guys, pass judgment all you want, but I know thousands of people have done that, and that's kind of the way you got to do it sometimes. It's the unspoken truth. Fortunately for me, I don't work for any of you guys, so I can tell you the truth. Some of the turbines that these guys are getting online, and they're doing it in an efficient way, and you think that's just magic. No, man. They can't follow your rules and do all the rules to the T without cutting some corners and safety, man. It's the truth. All right, so next thing I got here on the list is take away the senseless paperwork from management so that they can get out in the field and lead their guys. There's how we structure ourselves in the field and operations is key. If you have a manager that's so bogged down with paperwork, so bogged down with all of this logistical stuff and all of this just constant paperwork, documentation, all that, and he can't get out into the field to lead his guys, to show them how it's done, to lead by example, the guys are going to do whatever they think is necessary, and they're going to start cutting corners. That's just the way that it is. Whether we like to believe it or not, we're going to get complacent. We're going to say, I've done this 1,000 times. I can do this with, this thing energized, or I can do this, I can, I cannot tag out this thing or whatever, right? I'm not saying that's right. Not at all, man. But, if you don't have somebody there being your brother's keeper, and and this is a scenario. Tell me that this scenario doesn't exist in our industry, okay? you usually pair up. If you're doing like a hub jump or something like that, you got 3 guys, right? You're usually supposed to have 3 guys, at least 1 on the ground and then 2 in the nacelle. All right. You pair up a guy who's got some experience with a guy who has not so much experience. That guy with not so much experience, is he going to call out the experienced guy for doing something unsafe? Maybe. Most of the cases, no. That's an issue, man. Right? So everybody's got to have the ability to be able to stop and say, look, this isn't right. And some guys won't even know that it's not right. How are they even going to know? They're new. Got another comment here from Justin. Says, companies preach safety and stop workability. By the end of the day, you have a job at a time frame to complete. A job sometimes you're asking for the pot and the end of the rainbow. I see what you're saying there, man. Sometimes there's unrealistic expectations. That goes back to number 1. You know, this is an interesting topic, and it's obviously a little bit touchy. We talk about safety all the time. Companies talk about safety all the time. Safety, 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 safety first. And then you got mother truckers out there that are like, yeah, safety first, go out. There's lightning in 10 miles. It's still good. Don't worry. It's going around us. Skirting away. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. You want to talk safety, man? Be about it. Safety before production. I laugh because we all know that shit ain't true. We will want it to be. I'm sure there's some sites out there that are like that, man. I'm sure there are some sites out there that are safety before production. But even the ones that are like that, there's moments where they're not, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell a bunch of executives staring at me, asking me to talk about safety. I don't know what to talk about with them. How do I talk about this stuff without calling people out? How do I talk about this stuff without getting a little upset? It's impossible, man. But I do know that I can instill within you guys something that lasts. And, you know, I had somebody tell me one time, and it stuck with me. They said, don't ask or don't do something that you wouldn't have your kid do. I don't know, you guys don't have kids, but maybe you have younger brothers, or, you know, just think about maybe somebody you really care about. Would you have your kid reach into that electrical cabinet without shutting it down? I know I wouldn't have my daughter do it, but I think I'm more competent than my daughter. So I make this, you know, I don't know, this logic inside my head, right? Oh no, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I know what's there, right? Or would you have your kid, you know, climb up without his safety glasses? Probably not, right? I hate freaking safety glasses, man. I know you guys feel my pain. They're coming better and better, right? And the anti-fog and all that, but man, safety glasses, freaking just so hot and foggy in your face. There's quite a few comments here. We're gonna read them out because I love the comments. And don't forget, you guys can call into 435-383-1018. We can have a little conversation. Stan says, a job that used to take 10 minutes now takes 3 hours. Some of the folks that are veterans are guys that have worked 1 year. When I started, there were guys working 30, not experienced like it used to be. I get it, dude. I totally get that. Stan says, look at it from their side. I don't know whose side we're looking at it from, but I know that you got to look at it from all sides. That's for sure. I'm not completely dogging out everybody here. I just trying to have an open conversation. I know a lot of these guys that work in the field, they're not actually going to tell anybody, you know, how they really feel. Maybe I can help. I don't know. We had a guy that dropped his tool. He was winching it up in his backpack. Yeah, that's a no-go. Ban backpacks unless they were load rated backpacks. Instead of teaching them how to rig, yeah, safety glasses should only be used for flying parts. Dude, I agree. I don't like those safety glasses, but it's standard. Dudes are getting fired, and let me just comment on this too. This might sound a little bit like a rant and rave, but that's fine. I'm going to show this number here, and we're going to give you guys opportunity. We're going to sign off here pretty quick, so if you guys want to call in, man, there's a number. Call in before this show is done. If you want to talk a little bit about safety, you want to tell a story, you want to get out there and tell your story, you can be anonymous, whatever it may be, give it a call. Oh, but I'm going to just rant about this, okay? This group, I designed this group to help people out. We had a guy. We had a guy it was like this week or last week, I don't know. Posted a picture. It was this weekend actually. Posted a picture, some badass pictures, man. They were building their prototype tower, and dude didn't have he didn't have his hard hat on. I can't believe how many people just like ripped into this guy. You don't have your hard hat on. How many of you guys have done that shit yourself? Casting stones at this guy. Everybody's a damn safety Nazi on Facebook. Will you calm down with that shit? Seriously. I'm tired of it, man. People don't even want to share pictures of them doing their job because they're so dang worried about, internet trolls. Get over that. All right? Damn it. Let his boss be the judge of that. You don't got to worry about this dude's hard hat. I don't know. Stan says, yeah, Facebook police. Exactly, dude. The Facebook police. You see some of those pictures of us back in 2008 and 2001? We didn't have our hard hats on either, dude. You know what? We were supposed to not wear our hard hats up tower. Because before they actually had a legitimate strap on your helmet, it was a danger that thing would fly off and hit somebody. Okay? So get over it. I don't know, man. All the dang Facebook police. If you're one of those guys, stop it. Stop doing that. Just because you find a safety thing that's a violation in your company doesn't mean it's a violation in everybody else's company. Okay? Just so get over it. Don't worry about it. That dude ended up taking his post down. And there was some badass pictures, man. He took it down because he was tired of getting badgered constantly. I even turned off the comments and people still found a way to comment directly on the photo. Yeah. Anyway, Jacob says, we all do stuff that can get us fired every day in one way or another. All of us do it. You're right, man. We all do something. I've done it, man. I know I've done it, I don't even know if anything can actually really get done if you follow every one of your company's safety rules. And every company is different. And this isn't to promote unsafe behavior. That's not what I'm saying that for. It's just unrealistic. And the sad thing is all the policies that are being created for safety and all this, they're being done. And do we even consult the technician? Is this even possible? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Seems like they don't. Anyway, if you guys want some stickers, give me a call. Chat it up. I got some stickers here. We're about to cut this thing dry. We've been on for about an hour. It's fun to talk about this stuff. Sometimes it's fun to just if you guys want some Grease Monkey stickers, I'll shoot them over to you. That number, call. Even if you want to say what's up, no worries. Stan says, yeah, but we all do something that breaks the law as well and can land us in jail. That's probably true, Stan. You probably right on. Well, I've talked about 5 things here. You know, we're gonna try to keep this conversation going. Hopefully it gives us a little bit more forum to talk about safety. Give out some suggestions. But yeah, we talked about 5 things so far. One is leading by example. Hire up people actually going out into the field and doing the work that they're asking people to do, having realistic expectations. Okay. That's what boils down to number 1. Number 2 is having the proper tools, having the proper equipment so that you can limit the exposure to dangerous things. That includes everything from climate assist to, getting rid of the damn hydraulic pumps and just getting some real stuff out there. I mean, there's a lot of different things, like invest in the money in good metering. If your tools are broken, then fix them. Stuff gets broken, replace it. That's what happens when you actually use it. I don't know how many times companies are like, how did you break that? It's been only 4 months. Yeah, 4 months of constant use, stuff gets broken. Take it easy, Number 3, cut the budget somewhere else, okay? Stop cutting the budget on ops. Stop cutting the budget on the guys that are actually making you the money. We make you the money, okay? We keep the turbines online. Cut the budget somewhere else. Yeah, buddy. I'm calling you guys out. Hopefully somebody's watching. Next thing. Invest in your guys. Invest in the technicians. There's a concept that works. Hey, if we train them, we spend the money on training them, they might actually stick around, especially if you have a good culture and it's not an unrealistic culture. All these companies are so worried, if we spend the money, they can just go somewhere else. Well, then make a contract with them, man. It's that simple. If I train you, then stick around for 2 years. Sign this contract. Okay, cool. Sounds good. 5, take away all the senseless paperwork that makes our job even worse, okay? Whether it's for the managers or the guys in the field. If a manager has to do so many different tasks, if he's a site turbine manager, he's got so many different tasks that he can't actually get out there to help lead his guys. How are they ever gonna know how to do things? Even if they got a lead guy, that lead guy can't work with everybody. And that goes for just the guys on a day-to-day. Oh my goodness. How complex do JSAs and lockout tagouts need to be these days? They don't need to be that hard. Okay? There shouldn't be a 3-day training course on how to do lockout tagout and fill out a JSA. Come on, man. We want these guys to be safe, not master paperworkers. Oh, all right. That was my 5 things. There was also some nice comments that came in. We're going to read a few more of these comments. Obviously, some guys talking about wanting hard hat stickers. Dude, you know the deal. You want a hard hat sticker, you got to call in 435-383-1018. Share your story, share whatever, right? That's the way that it goes. Okay. So somebody says, are sites requiring 2 hard hats? One full brim and 1 bump. Bump cap is great, man. I think bump caps are great inside of the hub, and then having a hard hat, I think that's a pretty good deal, man. I don't know if they're requiring it. I don't know if that stuff should be required, but I see what you're saying. 2 hard hats, bump cap. If you guys don't know what a bump cap is, it's basically like a bandana with like a little kind of hard plastic on there, or it could even be almost looking like a welder's hat, like fabric, but then it has a little plastic piece on there. It's much more realistic to wear inside of a hub, so you don't like bang your head on things. Than wearing your actual hard hat, because your actual hard hat, we've got one back here. Your actual hard hat, raises your head up about that much. I don't know how much exactly that is. We got some other comments here. Reduce return from, again, sites means cutting budget and ultimately selling, repowering, and decommissioning. Reduced returns from aging sites. That's definitely goes into the factors of this, man. And sites are constantly getting older, and requiring more and more money. But we got to forecast that stuff. If you don't forecast it, then we're out. So Instagram, you guys are about to cut off. See ya. I don't know why, but you can't actually broadcast for that long. How old is your car? Do you pay more to the mechanic? Yeah, absolutely. When it gets older, you pay more to the mechanic. That's the thing, man. A lot of these sites, these guys are working on old equipment, and that old equipment requires more work. Those guys getting paid more for their skilled labor? Nope, probably not. Let me just say it like this: if your company isn't paying you at least $1 more every year, something's wrong. And I know there's plenty of companies out there that aren't doing that. They don't even give you the cost of living. Josh says, how about getting used equipment from other sites? Garbage. Don't think that's a good idea. Wyatt says, what do you recommend for students to figure out a potential employer who preaches safety versus one that actually cares? The signs, maybe. Oh, man, that's hard. That's hard. I don't know if I've been in this game for a long time. I don't know if I've found out the ones that just preach it and the ones that do it. This is one thing that I feel like we can improve on. For whatever reason, companies can simply brush some shit under the rug. You know, people dying, brushed under the rug. I really think it needs to be broadcasted. And trust me, I understand their reluctancy to share that information. But if we don't share, people are going to continue to die. Yeah. That's going to happen. If you don't publicly discuss, maybe on a forum like TCGM, or maybe just somewhere where people will listen, if you don't discuss what happened, how are we ever going to learn from it? That pisses me off. I don't know how many times things have